Actually, this project is related to the delivery time. Actually, we have in my I work in a duty station where we have 15 districts, and we have 373 delivery points. So this system will help me to monitor the delivery time from the time we load and dispatch food from the warehouse until the food is delivered to the final delivery point. And this will allow us to identify any delivery gaps. If for example, if the delivery time takes longer than what is expected, we can address this issue with the concerned parties, specifically the transporter who's in charge of moving the food from the warehouse to the final delivery points. Yes, we have around 373 food delivery points. The origin of the food is one warehouse. This from which all the food will be loaded and dispatched to these 373 locations. So the system will help us, give the distance, measure the distance, and also the time, the delivery time. So we can, if there's an issue with the delivery time, we can address it with the transporter. Yes, we used Python, for doing for the data cleaning, for the analysis, and for everything. And also we used we used Panda and GeoPanda. We used Panda for cleaning. For cleaning the data and exploring the data, for any null values, and also for splitting and extracting the required data from our data set. And then we use the geodata to measure the distance, to calculate the distance between the origin, the origin location, which is the warehouse, and the food delivery points. I know that this is a box plot which shows this is the delivery time, the delivery time for the 373 delivery points.
The most significant impact this particular project is going to have is that users can be able to have near real-time socioeconomic context-specific insights, because the tool
and to merge all the Excel files for the last 2 years. So we had data to visualize, not start from scratch. So that was kind of hard. Finally, the products we have reached.
These delivery points, what these delivery points are, so I can address it with the transporter, to identify the cause of this issue, so we can identify any potential solutions for this issue. Most significant change, actually, in the past I was using some traditional, some traditional tools, like the pivot, the power pivot and the pivot tables. Even though it was effective for doing my work, but it's not that effective, and with actually when using Python and the Panda and the other tools, it saved me a lot of time, and it gives you a lot of flexibility to explore the data and to do everything you want with the data, in a short period of time. I think this is all for my the key learnings. The key learnings, yes, I have learned about exactly, yes, how to use the data science tools to achieve quick and effective analysis for my data sets, and also how to do the data cleaning and wrangling analysis using these tools, and also the geospatial analysis. And if you want me, do you want me to just go through the code to show you?
Go ahead, you have a few more minutes.
Okay, thank you. I will share. Yeah. Let me. The fellowship. I will. Do you see my screen right now? Do you see it?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. These are the libraries which I have used in my code. I first loaded the data. Then I did the data cleaning. After that, and cleaned the data from the null values, and then try to identify which columns has null values. Then I clean these null values to have a clean data set, and then I try to to do some extracting to get some information to get some numeric information, adding a month column to the data set, and also then as you can see here, I get, because this is the first dispatch date and this is the last delivery date, and then we calculate the how many days between these two, so we get the how much delivery time it took, and this is the bug spot, and these are the governance, and the light means the delivery time to this district is low, and the darker means it took it took much longer. It took much longer to deliver the food. This is at the district level. Then I decided to do further analysis to the down to the delivery point level, and this is how I clean the data. This is a map I got. It's a sheet file. I got it from a website. Then I try to identify these points from the center of this map. I try to get the the center for these points, the centroid of these polygons, and then finally I can run a report for 12 months. For 12 months I can run a report. This is for the month of September 2020. This is for the month of October, and here it shows you this took 1 day. This is 3 days. This is one. This way, you can identify the patterns and find out which one. And then we did another one. Me and Parvathy, we did this one, and we calculated using the Google map, and we were able to calculate and get the distance between these locations, and also identify the distance and also the time, the delivery time for these locations. Yeah. This is all, and if you have any questions, please go ahead.
Thank you so much. Questions? No questions? Can I ask you one? So you are talking about like calculating travel distances and time, right? So there, did you face any challenges? Like what kind of data did you use for that?
No, no, thank you so much. Actually, I was using this traditional tool, the shape file. It's a local file. I downloaded, but then you suggested a good and more effective idea, which is the Google API, and I got the keys. I applied and I got the keys right now. It's perfect right now. And from now, I will in the future I will try to leverage this project to I will try to figure out ways to use this project in not only in supply chain, but in some other aspects of our work, so we can we can achieve maximum results in our work. Thank you again for your support.
Thanks. If we don't have any other question, let's go to Brian. He'll be talking about supply chain pre-positioning. Over to you, Brian.
Okay, thank you, Parvathy. And well, it's evening here. Good evening, everyone. I hope it's evening wherever you are. Let me try share my screen. Please let me know when it's visible.
Yes, we can see. Maybe you can put it into slideshow. Yeah, this is fine. Okay, fine. Go ahead.
Okay. Like Abdul Alim, I am in WFP as well, but I am based in Somalia office. The project I looked at is slightly different from his. Let me go to the next slide. So this is like for a genuine challenge we face in WFP when we are prepositioning food. We usually have challenges knowing how much is best to preposition in warehouses which are strategically placed, in this case in Somalia, in the different areas of Somalia. Placing enough food there such that when various delivery locations request for food to pass on to beneficiaries, they can get it on time and deliver it to beneficiaries. So we usually have issues. Sometimes we deliver more than the locations need. And then we fall into different issues like they fail to deliver the food before it expires, or we fail to deliver it before the deadlines which have been given to us by donors to distribute the food. So I wanted to try and see if I could come up with models to do this prepositioning for various commodities and various locations to allow them to optimally use the food, avoiding the challenges of not delivering on time and basically avoiding pipeline breaks, and also not over delivering, and then we face the other issues of getting food expiring and wasted, or falling into trouble with donors because we're not delivering within their grant deadlines. So well, I'll just state up front, I was not able to complete, but I had a good idea of how I wanted to approach it. So that's mostly what I'll focus on. I extracted data from corporate systems, specifically on Somalia office for the whole of 2021, using a tool which I think is linked to the name of the software. But anyway, it extracts from SAP. I got all the data to do with movement in 2021. Now, because I was tied up with time, I was spending a lot of time trying to learn Python, but it got to a point where now I had to get results. So I used Microsoft Excel to do my data wrangling and cleaning and all that using Power Query, because this is a tool I'm mostly familiar with. But I intend in the future to use pandas to replicate whatever I did with Excel as part of the learning process. So now, from all the data I picked, I selected particular feature fields which I was going to use to try and get a model to replicate what has been happening and see which are the most optimum time periods or tonnages to deliver in various locations. So the fields I selected: the batch number, the receipt and dispatch dates, the locations where the deliveries will happen, expiry dates because we want to avoid food expiring. Now, terminal disbursement dates is, I'll explain the term. Those are it refers to the date by which we should have completely delivered the particular grant given to us by a donor. So I included this as well because it's important, especially for the donors. Then the tonnages. Now, the requested distribution month, this is referring to the we get there's in the logistics. Let me talk a bit about the units. There's the program unit, the logistics unit. Your logistics unit is which takes care of the distributions and passing on food to the beneficiaries, but we do this based on instructions from the program unit. So when I'm referring to the requested distribution month, I'm referring to the month which program has said you need to distribute this food. So it's very important here, because now when we look at delivery dates, if the delivery dates are falling beyond the distribution month, it means we have not delivered on time. So I felt I would need to break this down using more than one model. There was a third one actually, but I didn't know how to describe it, so I just left it hanging for the time being as I work on the project. So I wanted to use one machine learning model to look at receipts, and this is the receipt food being received in the locations where they need to be distributed to, delivered to beneficiaries, and when they actually dispatch after receiving this food. And then I wanted to see the time they receive the food in these locations and the time, the event, I mean, the date they actually dispatch, how it affects delivery dates. Maybe let me elaborate. So in the various, let's say we're looking at Somalia still, we have particular warehouses which are strategically placed where we pre-position food. These are the bigger warehouses which have food in, let's say, in the various regions of the country, and food is pre-positioned here, ready to be passed on to smaller locations which are usually closer to the beneficiaries. So this first machine learning model is looking at where these smaller locations receive food from the preposition warehouses, how soon they receive it, and how soon they can dispatch it, and whether as a result the food is delivered within the delivery month. So that's what this first model is trying to look at. And then there was another model. This one is looking specifically what's the latest date these smaller locations can receive food to allow them to deliver within the requested distribution month. Slightly different from what we are looking at up there. The one above is a bit generic, should I say, but the second model is like trying to see for these various smaller locations, what's the latest we can deliver food to them to allow them to deliver on time. I wanted to add another model to look at tonnages as well. I got caught with time, but it's, since this is a project I'm still continuing with, I don't know if I'll get the opportunity to share when I eventually figure it out, but yeah, that is also part of this project. Okay. So what most significant changes can be for, sorry, let me go back. So as a result of this, if this project was successful, and I still really expect it to be, because I've been working with different tools, but I think with Python, it will be easier to come across solutions because it's much more versatile than whatever tools I was using before. So anyway, as a result of this, I expect more efficient food delivery to beneficiaries with no wastage, and wastage as a result of food expiring on the hands of the smaller locations, not delivering on time, or maybe they've gotten too much food which they can't deliver on time, and reduced or no more delivery delays. Of course, this one is hard to achieve because of anyone who has dealt with any supply chain related activities, there are always curveballs, but you try to maximize what you can do with what you have. the situations you can control. Then I'm hoping World Food Program will be in a better position to plan deliveries to beneficiaries on time, and will also be in a better position to give donors very clear information. I'm not saying they're not giving clear information now, but I'm saying they'll even be in a better position to give clear information, which will give confidence to donors to respond even faster and better when requests are made. And I'm hoping World Food Program will be able to better respond towards the core in the SDG2, which is a core mandate, ending hunger by achieving food security and improving nutrition. Sorry about that.
Sorry, Brian,
So-
your time is almost up. So can you just quickly go through this? Thanks.
Okay. I'm on the final slide. So my key learnings, well, learning Python from scratch, still a lot to learn, huge learning curve, but the potential is huge. Also new tools learned, GitHub, using Miro boards, Google Colab. I knew nothing about this before. One of our mentors directed us to a learning source, Kaggle.com. It has been great with my learning process, and still intend to continue using it. I mentioned in particular importance of documentation and how to do the actual documentation while you're doing a project in Google Colab. Yeah, this was a personal challenge I always had, how to document, and you would implement some project and then even forget what you were doing if you look at it later. And then, yeah, going forward, I intend to continue to improve my Python knowledge and do projects which can solve supply chain problems. And yeah, given the chance, pass on my newfound knowledge to other interested colleagues. Yeah, thank you for your time. In case you have questions, it's Brian.
Thank you so much, Brian. We have time to take one question because it took a bit longer. So questions? No? Brian, you are like one of the fellows like who have I think not missed more than like 1 or 2 sessions. So you have been very committed, and to see the progress is really amazing because you have really picked up Python and try to also think about models. So that's really good in terms of, because you talk about a lot of different things that could be done in terms of priority, like where would you start and what would you think as the next thing to do in your project?
Well, one is I intend to, because I didn't get into doing much modeling, I intend to try and replicate using the different models, using older and newer data to see what gives me the most optimum results before proceeding. So it's for me, it will be a lot of try and error. But that's what I intend to focus on first and most for whatever models I selected.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
But Brian, this is Abdulalim. You can reach out if you need any support, since this is a WP project. If you need any help or support with the, with the Python and also the modeling, and please get in touch with me.
Yes, thanks a lot, Abdulalim. I actually intend to do that. Thanks for the offer. I will follow up with this.
Okay.
Amazing. Thanks. Let's then go with Hussam. He's going to talk about the German Red Cross Global Operations Dashboard that he have designed. Hussam, over to you.
Thank you very much. Parvathy, can you see my screen now?
No.
Oh. Here. Here. I think now you can see it.
Yes.
Thank you very much. My name is Hussam Saeed. I am the Information Management and Digitalization Lead in the German Red Cross. And my project today is about the German Red Cross global operation. You see, German Red Cross works with in like close to 15 countries. We work with the national societies in those countries. We help them by implementing projects. Those projects has sectors like food, wash, and those sectors has modalities like cash, in-kind, vouchers. And we have also thematic focus in our projects like anticipation, urban context, and some of those projects are emergency projects. All of that comes from different funding mechanism, and we have a lot of planned people that we needed to help and reach people that people we help. So all of that information needs to be collected by Excel and presented using Power BI until we have our new ERP system up and running, enterprise resource planning system. So we need to do this job manually until we get into the new ERP. And like using the Power BI and collecting this information is not new, but the ABW program helped us a lot in understanding better how to do this job. So the business case here is until we get this ERP system up and running, our management and upper management, middle management colleagues, they need to have a full picture of all those points in an interactive way where they can see what they want to see in order to view, monitor, plan, evaluate, and like implement what the action needed. And we did that before, but nobody got interested because we didn't plan to their needs. So based on the program now, we have better understanding of how to do things. And the most important method that we learned from the program is to start by two fundamental questions. What information do you want to see in the dashboard? And what decisions will you take based on this information? So I implemented this practice, and I was amazed by the answers I got, because it's very interesting when you do things right and you start the questions before you do the work, how much you learn about what needs to be done. And that was amazing exercise. So based on what we learned from this, there is a lot of change in the way we do things now. I cannot speak about, because our data will be ready by next April almost. So I cannot speak about the change in the organization so far, but I can speak about the change in my approach and in our understanding of how to do things, is to first, and before you do anything, to understand the why, the whole job, the why everything is happening, and what is the reason to do things, and then to understand what is important in this, so to know where to focus and what to show. Also, that affected the data collection practice that we do, because visualizing helps you first seeing the data you have and what you don't have, and to see what you need and what you don't need. And that is a wonderful learning, but also brings a lot of extra work that you somehow didn't see before you start working on the dashboard. And also to spend enough time building things and don't rush into just second hand, because people will not be interested. So you need to provide something of value and to simplify what you are doing, because what we noticed before is that because we spend a lot of time working on our data, it's very clear for us. And when we visualize it, we think that it's easy. And then we discover that people didn't get it. Yeah, because they just have a look now while we spend weeks and maybe months working on our data. So it's clean for us, but not easy for others to understand. So you have to simplify things and make it easy to read as much as possible, and to get a lot of feedback. Don't wait until the last minute. This is also something that we learned by this practice. The key learning here is, and this is like my personal key learning, is to not assume that you know the need of decision makers. Ask them and double check with them before you build a dashboard. Really, this is extremely important, because you have to spend enough time understanding the real need before just jumping into building things. That will help you a lot of save a lot of time. The other thing is to, when you get the your customers, the people who will use your product, when you get them part of the process, they feel that they own it, and then they are involved, they see what you are doing, and they monitor the steps, they understand how you are doing things, and then suddenly they are part of it. So they feel like partners, and that will give you a lot of trust. And our data is not ready so far, but I'm sure, like with the whole knowledge we learned from this wonderful program, I'm sure I have my answers ready in my head and in my work to show. Thank you very much, and please ask me any questions you have. Peter, it looks like you want to say something, but you are muted also. Cannot hear you. I still cannot hear you. Parvathy, can you help us? We want to hear Peter, but we cannot.
Yeah, I cannot hear him as well. Peter, can you try unmuting yourself now? No, we cannot hear you. Maybe you can type your question. Do you provide feedback to the ERP project? That's Peter's question.
This is a wonderful question. Actually, when we started designing the ERP system, nobody asked about what we are doing now. They asked people what they need. And suddenly, when we started providing results and showing this data together, everybody was aware that, wow, this is what we need to know. And then suddenly everybody got interested, and now they keep monitoring closely everything we do, because it helps a lot. Actually, they sent the whole document to the designing team just to show that this is how we operate and this is what we need. And all of that came out of this learning. So yeah, we provide a lot of feedback now. And they should know that decision makers find it important. Yeah, exactly. Thank you for your question, Peter. Any other question? Thank you very much.
No, that's all right. Thank you so much to you as well. Like, there's good perspective you bring from on how to design and develop dashboard. So I think not just for your particular use case, for everyone, all these learnings are very important. So thanks for sharing it with us. Next, we have Mahmoud. He'll be talking about a dashboard project as well, where he looked at UNRWA Historic Archive. So over to you, Mahmoud.
Can you see my screen?
Yes, but can you make it into presenter mode, please? Thanks.
Okay. So hello, everyone. I'm Mahmoud, and I'll be presenting to you the dashboard for the Historic Archive project at UNRWA. So UNRWA is the United Nations Relief and Works Agency for Palestine Refugee. It was established back in 1949 with the aim to provide humanitarian assistance, mainly at that time it was food and shelter to Palestine refugees. So the main aim refugees wanted to register with UNRWA was to receive this type of assistance. So throughout the years, UNRWA has adopted different registration systems, and as the technology developed as we went through time, different systems were created, where the last system was created in 2010. But unfortunately, any refugee who was deleted prior to 2010 was not migrated from the old systems. And when we talk old systems, we're talking old databases and also old paperwork. They were never transferred to our current system that we use now. So back in June 2021, UNRWA started the Refugee Registration Information System Modernization Project. And part of this project is this Historic Archive project. So the Historic Archive project's idea is we go through the historical documents that UNRWA have since 1948 up till today, and we check the refugees' information, those who were deleted as for death, for whatever reason, and we reinstate these refugees. After we do reinstate these refugees in our system, we reflect their status as being deceased, as being whatever the reason they're deleted for, and then we relink the refugees back to their ancestors. Relinking these refugees back to their ancestors is important because it saves the definition of a Palestine refugee, because the definition is inherited through your ancestors. And one other important aspect of this project is to enhance the data quality of the registration system in general. So me being the data analyst of the project, I first start by extracting the data to the team. So we work on a village by village basis. So we choose a village, we work on it, we finish all the records for the refugees, then we move to another one. So we have a team made of 30 members. And after I retrieve the data, I give it to the team, the registration assistants, and they help us clean the data, review the paper documents which are being digitized. So they get scanned and the refugees just view them on their computers. After that, I review the final stage of this and check that all records were indeed cleaned, such as we do not have null fields anymore. We have added a field for the date of death, which was not before. This is needed, as we will see soon in my dashboard. And then I create a demographic report to my supervisor to track the history of each village. So since we started this project, we aim to have a dashboard where we can combine all, like, the final product of our project. So first I used to do it by Excel, but now I created the first draft of a dashboard that I will be sharing with you. So the tools that I used first, I use Microsoft SQL Server to extract all the data from our database. Then I prepare it on Excel for the team. I clean the data after they finish. I have used Python for the first time in this project. I have I'm a novice in Python. I've used it to combine the data for the several villages. I've used the 3 villages for now just as a demonstration. And finally, I used Microsoft Power BI to create the dashboard. Let me share my dashboard with you. Can you see my dashboard?
Yes.
Okay, so this is the dashboard that I have created so far. And we one of the most important aspects for us is to track the growth of the population of a certain village. So I've used the decades for every decade, with just to a disclaimer that this year I would work on it because it seems like from 2020 to 2022, it's a decade, but it's not, it's 10 years. I still need to figure out how do I fix this. And I'm open to any recommendations from you later on. So the populations pyramid, we can filter through the decades, if we see here, like 1990 and up to these days. What we noticed, one of the things we noticed is that the base of the pyramid is shrinking, which means that the refugees are producing less children by the time. And we have key statistics for our project over here. We have the number of refugees reinstated, the number of refugees we've linked, and the record that we amended. We can open the filter pane and choose other villages. For example, we choose this village, it shows us the location of this village, and we see the other statistics of the village. So let me go back to my PowerPoint. Can you see my PowerPoint now?
Yes.
Okay. So for the most significant changes, so this dashboard would be used by all stakeholders to track the project process. There is a plan to eventually, once we are ready, to make this dashboard available to the public. And as I said before, instead of creating the report for each village in separate Excel files, I now consolidated them into this dashboard. And to reiterate, this is part of UNRWA's risk modernization project. So for the next steps, eventually a total of 500 plus villages will be added to the report. I want to work more on the user interface design, and I want to choose better colors. I would also like to add the option to turn the dashboard to a colorblind friendly version. I want to improve the map design. And finally, if I'm going through time, I would work on anything that needs improvement. So the key learnings for me throughout this fellowship and this project in general, where I learned some visualization practices. I was introduced to new concepts such as data maturity, such as version control on GitHub, and I got the chance to have my first hands-on practice with Power BI, and I created this dashboard. So this is my team. This is the team that helped create all this, because, as I said, we retrieve documents from 1948 up till today. So it's a huge amount of documents. They review these documents, reflect the findings on our system, and eventually it helped me create this dashboard. So thank you for your time, and please let me know if you have any questions or any recommendations.
This is great. Thanks for sharing the dashboard. Any questions? Okay. Actually, from being someone who is new to Power BI and also Python, this is really great work. I think you have made significant progress in the less amount of time you have. So no questions from my side as well. Because we are running a bit late, let's then just go ahead and hear from Mukhtar. He have done for Nigeria crime prediction and hotspot identification work. So over to you, Mukhtar.
Okay, thank you. Let me share my screen. Can you see my screen? No.
Yes. No, I see a Python code. Sorry.
Okay, I'm coming, please. Can you see my screen now?
Yes.
Okay. Sorry. Okay. Can you see my screen now?
Yes.
Okay. Hi, everybody. My name is Mukhtar from Center for Fiscal Transparency and Integrity Watch. Today, I'm going to present my projects on this fellowship, which is crime prediction and hotspot identification in Nigeria. But before I move forward, I would like to thank Professor Martin Suma for the opportunity for mentoring me towards achieving this project. So Professor, thank you very much. Okay. Okay, my own project is all about the crime that are happening in the country, my country, Nigeria, whereby every day you realize that there is this kidnapping, banditry, and organized crimes that are happening, but we don't have a system where we capture all the information regarding the crime that are happening. It's just new. You just hear about the crime on news, but no any database or where you can be able to get the data or information regarding the crime that are happening in the country. So I've decided to work on these projects, and the goal of the project is to increase visibility of crime in Nigeria on the types of crime that are happening, then the hotspot where the crime is committed. So we need the government or the citizens need to know the types of crime that are happening within each location within the country, and the hotspots where the crime is committed. So again, we will be making use of these projects. Then policymakers are the one who are going to make use of this project. The Nigerian Police Force, other security agencies like NAPTI, which are in charge of human trafficking and other things. So citizens again are the ones who will make use of this project, because if there is visualization about the crimes that are happening within the country, within different states, different location, then citizens can be able to look at our work, look at our dashboard and everything, so that they can be able to know in so place such kind of crimes are committed, so they can take precaution for that. The focus of this project is to make effective and informed strategies that can curtail criminal activities and contribute development in the nation. Okay, methods and tools used for these projects. First of all, data sources, like as I said before, in Nigeria, we don't have any database where crime records are kept. So I was able to use GDELT event data. GDELT is an event data, is a global event data where you can have a data regarding crimes, regarding different kind of things, but I've decided to focus on crimes. So I use GDELT is a global database where you can find any sort of event data. So data used, and the data used is daily crime events from January 2021 to May 2022. This is the data I use for these projects. Software used for the project is Python. I use Python notebook, though I use Google Colab to do all the analysis, all the filtering for this project. And then the approach is to extract event related to crime in Nigeria from GDELT, event data, and visualize the data. But later, after the visualization, later I'm going to carry on further work on the data to start with, to predict the data and make necessary analysis. Okay, here is the map of crime hotspot in Nigeria from the data I use from January 2021 to May 2022. And these are the hotspot where this is a map of Nigeria. Here you can see different kind of crimes that are happening in different location. Later, I think there is need for me to take you. Oh, sorry. Please to take you to okay, to take you to my Google Colab to see this is the map that I've shown you. These are all the crimes that are happening in the country, be it kidnapping, abduction, different kind of things. And you know, number of persons released, number of things destroyed, by let's say Boko Haram and different criminal organizations. So this about the it's an interactive map. You see each location here is different state, but after this presentation, I'm going to go back and perfect it so that to be presenting the data according to the month and different kind of crimes. So I hope hello, I hope you can see you can see my screen.
Yes, we see your slide deck still, not the Python notebook.
Okay, yeah, sorry.
But let's speak up a little bit, please. Thank you.
Okay, so can you see it now? Okay. Can you see my notebook now? Hello.
Yes,
Yes, we can. Yes.
Okay. So this is the map. This is the murder, abduction, kidnapping, or taking hostage. So different kind of crime committed. So as you see it like this, it's just all over the country. But this one I filter from January 2021 to May 2022. So that's why you see it looks clumsy, but I'm going to separate it like maybe month by month, January, the data for January, February, March, different, so that it will not look clumsy like this. And I'm going to make sure that I spreaded the crime so that you can be able to understand it. And this is the event code, which if you look at it's showing murder by the use of unconventional military force. This is the latitude and longitude where the crime is committed, and this is the event code where the event code is showing here.
Yeah.
Okay, if you check up, these are the codes that I use from here. How to read the data and everything. This is the action, the event code. Okay, ethnic group crisis. Okay. This is I filter, is a global event data. So I have to do the filtering. I have to filter the Nigeria. After filtering Nigeria, then I go down, I filter the crimes. These are the crimes, as you can see like this. So I have to filter the crime. After filtering the crime, I have to combine it so that it will be kind of automation, because it's daily data. I have to take it from day 1, January 1, 2nd, 3rd, up to the last day of the January, then 2nd February, from the first day to the last March, like that, up to from 2021 up to May 2022. These are the works I have done so far. Okay. Then this is the second notebook. Why, as you can see.
Can I ask one question, Mukhtar? So on the previous one, you have event code,
Okay.
right?
Yes, I have event code.
And it is colored by the type of crime, is it? Or
Yes.
same like event code, or?
You said?
It's
Sorry?
the same as, so event code is used to identify the type of crime, right?
Yes, actually, you are right.
Okay, go ahead. The
Okay.
time is almost done, but maybe you can wrap up.
Okay, so let me to my slide. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Can you see my slide? Okay.
Yes.
So most significant. Okay. Okay, sorry. Okay. Okay, most significant change. The most significant impacts I expect after this project is security agencies to utilize. Okay. Sorry. Okay, it's for the security agencies to utilize this project in deploying security personnel to various locations where crimes can be curtailed. 2, policymakers and security agencies to learn about different types of crime happening in the different locations in the country and develop strategies to tackle them. Citizens, we want citizens to utilize this project in learning where different types of crimes are happening to avoid the places and take necessary precautions. Okay, the most significant impact to my organization is to partner with the Nigerian police force and other security agencies to work on new strategies to mitigate crime. And impact to the SDG goals, the most significant impact to sustainable development goals is on SDG goal 16, which is peace, justice, and strong institutions, which has 12 targets, but I'm focusing on a reduced crime, organized crime, such as arms, human and drug trafficking, as well as economic crimes. Key learnings from the fellowship and projects. I learned about machine learning, deep learning, text mining, explainable AI, optimization. I learned about how to work with big data. As you can see, my project is about big data. And I learned about the cloud data architecture, data exploration, visualization, dashboarding tools, and techniques, how to automate and filter data. I think on this project, I use automation and filtering a lot. And I learned about how to speak data. Again, from this fellowship, I learned about how to use Git and GitHub for version control during development work. I learned about principles of digital development. My next step on how to take these projects and this key learning is, after this presentation, I'll make sure that there's going to be expansion of the projects using text mining techniques such as natural language processing to extract the whole information from the event links. Because for this data, there's event links where we can be able to use NLP to extract the information. After extraction of the information, I want to use the machine learning techniques for prediction of crimes and all types of prediction of all types of crimes in the country. So thank you for listening. This is all about my projects. And if you have any question, you can ask me.
Thank you so much, Mukhtar. Any questions?
Yes, I have one question. Have you got any idea of how reliable your data source is?
Yes, actually, because it is a reliable data, because the whole data is all about the news outlets in Nigeria. Especially we have like Daily Trust, we have like Premium Times and other news outlets in Nigeria, which I already knew, and they are the credible ones in the whole country. So even the GJELT is getting those information from Nigeria.
Okay.
They are storing it. It's a kind of global.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a link where you can be able to click on it, will link you to the main sources of the data.
Okay. Great. And another question I had is in relation to the earlier talk we heard about the German Red Cross organization, where they had tremendous benefit from having discussions with the key decision makers. So that would also benefit your project, maybe if you are able to interview the decision makers that you would like to serve with your dashboard and get their input on what they think is important. Do you already have those discussions?
Yes, I think my executive director is already engaging himself with the IG of Nigerian Police Force regarding this project.
Good. Thank you.
You're welcome. So thank you.
Hello, can we ask a question?
Yes.
Yes, you can.
Yeah, I saw you jumped over that slide that had the map with the blue and red dots, and you did not explain what it represented. So I thought you could spend 10 seconds just to, because that's supposed to be the outcome of all what you have done. Yes, here.
Okay, here?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Here, you know, it's the spot of the crime happening in the country. As you can see, there is different colors. It's about the event code, where the digital data use. If I can please let me reshare my screen with the color. Okay. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. 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 As you can see it in the event data, this is the code, but it has its own name. If you look at each point here is representing a particular type of crime. If you look at engagement in ethnic cleansing, here is fight with small arms and light weapons, surrender militarily, fight with, okay, if you look at it, it's just different types of crime that has already been committed in the country.
Okay, I get it. Thank you for that.
Yeah, you're welcome, sir. Thank you very much. Okay.
Thanks, Mukhtar. Actually, I would like to have a call also with you on expanding this, like, because your workflow should be able to scalable for other regions. So it's nice to document this, I would say, as a paper or something. So we'll be in touch to see how we can, because you are using open data, so it's relatively easier to replicate it to other regions. So let's discuss this further, but thanks a lot. Looks really, you have made like great progress in this. Thanks, Mukhtar.
Thank you very much, Parvathy.
Over to you, Pratyush, who is going to speak about how he have done facility mapping for evidence-based planning of district health programs. Pratyush.
Hi, everyone. So is my screen visible?
Yes.
Okay, so hello, everyone. This is Pratyush Sharma. I am currently working as an aspirational district fellow with the Transform Rural India Foundation and Niti Aayog in a fellowship called Aspirational District Fellowship in the district of Guna, Madhya Pradesh. So my project is about facility mapping for evidence-based planning of districts' health programs. I am going to map the health facilities in the district for improved program delivery. Yeah. So the objective in this project are we want to visualize the healthcare facilities in the district. We also want to map the population catchment area all over the district, and we want to analyze the accessible facilities for the population, and we want to identify key junctures which will be effective for better service delivery for the health programs. The tools that we have used are Jupyter Notebook, the IDE, and we have used data layers such as database of global administrative areas, Mapbox API, and WorldPop. So here we have mapped the health facility in the Guna district, and here the left graph you can see that the population density is also marked with red, and the health facilities have been marked with the blue markers. Moving on, we have also mapped the catchment area, the accessibility of the healthcare facility by mapping the 5 kilometer, 10 kilometer, 50 kilometer, and 100 kilometer ranges. So in the second graph, you can see with and without access population at 10 kilometer, at 25 kilometer, and the third graph you can see that there is some part of the population which is still not accessible to healthcare facilities even at 50 kilometer range. So in the below table, you can see that only 12% of population is in the range of 5 kilometer to a nearest healthcare facility, 20% in the case of 10 kilometer, 50% 25 kilometer, and 81% in the range of 50 kilometer. So the most significant change. So this visualization will help us in organizing. We are running a Anemia Mukt Guna campaign in Madhya Pradesh, this state of Guna, where because anemia, the low level of hemoglobin is highly prevalent in the district of Guna, and around 50% of the population is anemic, and that's why we are running a specialized campaign for testing and disseminating information about better diet, iron-rich diet. So we will be organizing all healthcare camps. This project, this visualization will help us in identifying key areas which through which we can target the maximum amount of population. It will also help in initiation of IEC activities, and it will also help us in identifying the areas where new infrastructure, new healthcare facility can be developed. So the overall ABW fellowship, that is Data Science Practitioner Fellowship, we have learned so much about from the seasoned data science practitioners. Some important things that I have found interesting have been mentioned here: the version control system, exploratory data analysis, and data visualization tools. Choosing the right data visualization, which is very important for effective decision making. And one of the most important sessions was stakeholder engagement. And I have chosen geospatial science specialization. So I really found interesting applications of geospatial data analysis, like pedestrian fatality data analysis, water body monitoring, tracking forest cover, bound boundary detection, land use classification, assess tracking, and management. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Pratyush. Any questions for Pratyush? Pratyush, if I can ask one, if others don't,
Sure.
what will be the next step in this? Because you spoke about expanding it with the optimization models, but let's say you optimize the locations and you have some potential list, like who would you discuss that results with? Like which kind of stakeholders will be interested in those interventions?
So yes, the next step will be optimization problem, where we will identify key areas where new infrastructure can be developed, new healthcare facility or lower healthcare facility like sub-health center can be developed in these areas where hospitals are not there. So these results will be communicated to the my company, the Transform Rural India Foundation, and also to the district administration of Guna, where I work in close coordination with the Chief Medical Health Officer, and they will be in a better position to implement such infrastructure development activities.
Sounds good. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Any other questions? If not, thank you so much. We'll hear from Sahan. This is the last presentation in this room. We have him presenting on location selection and resource optimization for Ebola. Over to you.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, Sahan, I can.
Oh, okay, thank you so much. Hello, everyone. I'm Sahan. I work for World Food Program. I'm based in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia. I work as an information management officer. I work on a project with the Africa CDC, and we are doing SLL implementation and capacity strengthening for Africa CDC. So in case if you want to know the meaning of these acronyms, I can elaborate a bit more afterwards. So the goal of this project is to develop a model or a workflow that will assist us in finding optimal and data-driven solution and find the best answers to some of our questions, especially when it comes to emergency preparedness and response. And for this specific project, I'll use the example of our partner Africa CDC, which we are supporting them, especially in the supply chain area and when it comes to their emergency preparedness and response. And this means a lot of actually questions, but the question for today that I want to answer is, if we are willing to put a new base or warehouse, which district or which place is going to be the most suitable for that warehouse, where it's optimally located near the high vulnerable areas in the context of Ebola outbreaks. And just a disclaimer, the project is mostly about developing the model and the outcomes. I had to do a lot of assumptions and a lot of simplification just for this example, because I wanted to go through the process. So the outcomes may not be real outcomes, but the model and the workflow is the focus for this presentation. And when it comes to business case and most significant changes, I would briefly would say, like, how can we support our partner, that is Africa CDC, in better redefining their response and preparedness strategies and make evidence-based decision, which will inevitably lead to more effective and efficient responses and preparedness. A bit on the problem statement again. So we assume, or we have a base in Addis Ababa, which is functional, and we know where the vulnerable areas are. What we need to know and what we want to find out is, what is that other district where we can put our base or warehouse, which is optimally near the high vulnerable areas. And just to give you a perspective, you have more than 6,000 districts to choose from. So we need to do a bit of narrowing down until we go to our optimization. So for the methods and tools that we used multi-criteria decision-making and optimization, and specifically linear programming. For tools, I use Python and a bunch of libraries, pandas, pulp, geopandas, and a few more for data processing and analysis. I use CBC solver to solve the optimization problem, which is a free and open source solver. And I use ArcGIS eventually. Once the data was ready, I exported it and used ArcGIS just to make a bit more compelling visualizations. So the way we think about the problem was, we need two lists of districts. We need a district that has the most vulnerable and which we think that should be the highest priority. And we also need to find out a possible location where we can put our base or warehouse. And then between the two, we can find our proximities and identify which one suits the best. So for this one, we assume the high priority areas are going to be districts that have a potential of outbreak of a rank of 6 or higher, which if you rank them 1 to 10, so we want only the high vulnerable areas. And for a possible location for base or warehouse, we would want to be near 10 kilometers from a large port and 20 kilometers from an international airport, and with the highest logistic performance index. And as I just said, these are just assumptions and simplifications. If you are doing really decision making, you probably need more than these parameters. So these are the data set that we have. We have the outbreak potential, which was downloaded from the IHM Institute of Health Metric and Evaluation. It ranked all the districts from 1 to 10 in terms of potential. So you compare this information with other information, of course, with population, health infrastructure, and so on, to make it more robust. And also on the other side, when we want to choose the district, we will look at the location of port, location of airport, and country logistic performance index. The location of port and airport are from WFP, and country logistic performance index is from the World Bank. And let's just have a look at our data, and we can see that we have a lot of points and still have a lot of places to choose from. We start slowly to go into our criteria. For example, we filter out all the areas that are below 6 ranking of outer potential. We also only filter out the location of the big ports and the international airports, and we're going to merge them together. And now you can see actually it's a bit easier to visualize, and you probably have less choices right now. So we're also going to do the criteria where we wanted to be close to a port or close to an international airport to even have less choices. And just a disclaimer, I'm very strongly like filtering the data just to have less and less. And usually in a real life scenario, we're probably going to be a bit more conservative in filtering the data based on your parameter, because you probably, if you want to be close to a port, right, but then if you have high market availability, you might not really be that important. So, and also I'm using a free open source solver, which if I feed it a lot of data, it will crash. So that's one of the reasons. I also want to see the process throughout, which is easier to see 5 or 10 points rather than a lot of them. So now we have a bunch of 10 possible locations, but we only also want to select the top 5 of which have the highest logistic performance index, which is the blue dots. These are where we want to test if they're actually optimally, they meet the criteria, and also we want to see if they're optimally located near the high potential areas where we assume high likely demand will come from. And for our optimization problem, we have defined our variable, which is X for the source location, a binary variable, and also we want the amount that we need to transfer from source to location J. We want to minimize the cost per distance and also the cost associated with the location. So by cost, I mean, it can even be monetary cost, or it can be also time cost. So you might want to minimize time, or you want to minimize cost, or you might as well do both of them. And also for the constraint, we want to meet all the demands. We always want Addis Ababa to be selected because we have a base there. We also don't want to provide more than supply. And we also want eventually to select only 2. So this model is like the base model. Of course, we can change it as needed. For example, instead, we can, up until a certain point, we can only consider like linear distance. Like for now, it's just linear distances, but we can also consider like travel time, road distance, or like even up to a different, like a certain point, we can say like, you know, land transport, and then after that, it can go to how do you call air transport or sea. Like this is like we have the possibility of adding those criteria. So just an example, if we just change the 2 to 4, it will optimally select for location. Of course, if we change the source and the demand, the lines that goes from each source location will change as well. So this is a snippet of the optimization part only. Of course, the Jupyter Notebook is way longer than this, and I will try to make it publicly available for everyone who wants to have a look later on. And the key learning, I think, I mean, throughout the process, I learned a lot of stuff, but the main thing is the message that with analytics that we can find the most optimal solution especially in case of multivariate decision making, when human observation is not sufficient to reach an optimal conclusion. For example, we only have 4 parameters. Is already difficult to pinpoint without some analytics. And that was my presentation, and open for comments and questions.
Thank you so much. This great to see the end-to-end like an optimization model also implemented. Given the short time you have, really good work. Questions?
Yes, I have a question. Sahan, do you consider also security?
Not for this model. As I said, like the parameters I used was only 4 because a lot of the time, I think the time that I spent was actually getting the data and shaping the data into the correct format. But yes, of course, if you're if you want to interested in putting a warehouse, security is probably going to be one of your parameters for the selection.
And how easy it is to integrate more parameters to the model?
I mean, it depends on the parameter. I think I mean, we have the variables which we consider like a list of districts with high vulnerability, and also we're looking at the list of districts that are how do you call, like, they are suitable to place or warehouse. So I think depends on the parameter and how important it is. I mean, it's just a step before the optimization, I suppose, to figure that out.